Good morning. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the Monday Message. Each week, we take a few minutes to reflect on leadership, character, and the choices that shape who we become. As members of the public safety community, parents, spouses, teammates, coworkers, and neighbors. These are not lectures or perfect answers. They are simply observations from a career spent working with people and lessons I have learned along the way with the hope that they challenge all of us to think a little differently as we begin a new week. If this is your first time listening, I'm Dan Dillon. I've spent more than 3 decades in public service, and every Monday I share a few thoughts on character, growth, and what it takes to become someone others can depend on. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get started. Today I want to talk about something we all have in common. Every one of us has something we have been putting off: a conversation, a decision, a commitment to ourselves, something we know we need to do, but have not. A few years ago, I found myself in exactly that position. I had a coworker who was also a friend. His performance had fallen off and it had been off for a while. We tried to get him back on track through coaching, clear expectations, and probably more opportunities than made sense because neither of us wanted it to end that way. But eventually, I knew what the conversation had to be. It was time for him to move on. I had every reason to delay it. I told myself he needed more time, better timing, another chance. But if I was honest, it was not about timing. It was about my discomfort. Every one of us has something we would rather avoid. Maybe it's an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe it's admitting we made a mistake. Maybe it's getting out of bed before the alarm to get a jump on the day. Maybe it's asking for help. Or maybe it's making a decision that we know is right, even though it will not be popular. None of those moments seem particularly significant on their own, but over time, those moments become the person we will eventually become. Our brains naturally seek comfort. It's how we're wired. Comfort feels good in the moment, growth usually does not. Comfort is seductive, it promises relief, but it also quietly steals opportunity. Comfort has never asked anything of us. Growth always does. One of the greatest misconceptions about doing hard things is that eventually they become easy. They do not. You do. You become more capable. The weight does not get lighter, you get stronger. That is true in the gym, it is true at work, it is true in relationships, it is true in leadership, and it is true in life. Looking back, I have rarely regretted doing the hard thing. I have regretted waiting far more often than I have regretted acting. Most of us spend far more energy avoiding difficult things than it would have taken to simply face them. Almost every time we discover we were stronger than we believed. When I finally had that conversation, it took about 15 minutes. 15 minutes. After months of carrying the weight of avoiding it, I have never forgotten what I learned from that experience. The dread of a difficult conversation is almost always worse than the conversation itself. That discomfort is not unique to me. It's universal. It is true in marriages. It is true in friendships. It is true in how we talk to our children. It is true in how we hold ourselves accountable when no one else is watching. The hard thing and the right thing are, more often than not, the very same thing. That is true whether you're leading a fire company, running a business, coaching a youth team, raising a family, or simply trying to keep a promise you made to yourself back in January. The hard things are not usually dramatic. More often, they are found in the ordinary decisions we make every day. It is getting out of bed before the alarm because you are committed to taking better care of yourself. It is staying physically fit when no one is checking. It's owning a mistake instead of explaining it away. It's having an honest conversation that would be easier to avoid. It's admitting you do not know something and allowing someone else to teach you. It's accepting change instead of resisting it simply because it's unfamiliar. None of those things make headlines. In fact, most people will never notice you doing them, but they will notice who you become because of them. Doing hard things changes us. It develops discipline when motivation fades. It builds resilience when life becomes difficult. It creates humility because we realize there's always more to learn. And perhaps most importantly, it builds confidence, not because life becomes easier, but because we have proven to ourselves that we can overcome difficult things. Every time we choose a harder path, we build something that comfort never can. We become a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more dependable, and we create a reserve of resilience because none of us gets to decide when life will ask for it. I have noticed that people I trust most in every part of my life share a common thread. It is not that they are the most talented or the most experienced or the most naturally gifted. It's that they are dependable. They stay calm under pressure. They communicate honestly, even when the truth is inconvenient. They keep learning instead of assuming they have already arrived. They hold themselves accountable before anyone else has to. And they can be counted on when things become difficult because they have spent years quietly choosing difficult things instead of avoiding them. That is really the heart of it. The choices you make when no one is watching determine who you will become when everyone is. Pressure does not build character nearly as much as it reveals it. The emergency rarely introduces us to who we are. It reveals who we have been becoming all along. Here's the part I would really like you to think about. Whatever role you hold today, whatever title is on your business card, whatever badge or uniform you wear, whatever position you have worked years to earn, that role will not last forever. Someday, you will retire, or move on, or hand your responsibilities to someone else. Someone else will occupy the office. The organizational chart will not remember your name, but people will remember your character. Character does not change when you put on a uniform, accept a promotion, or move into a bigger office. Those things simply give you another place to demonstrate it. The expectations we place on ourselves should not begin only when something important is on the line. They begin with the decisions we make every single day when nothing much seems to be at stake at all. The easy path offers comfort, but very little growth. The harder path develops the kind of person others trust without hesitation. Every difficult decision, every uncomfortable conversation, every challenge you choose to face instead of avoid becomes another brick in the foundation of who you are. The foundation is exactly what people who depend on you actually rely on. Not your resume, not your title, not your accomplishments, your judgment, your integrity, your ability to remain calm when everything around you is falling apart. That is character. So maybe the question this week is not whether life is asking something difficult of you, because it probably is. Maybe the better question is this: who is this challenge giving you the opportunity to become? Because every difficult season offers us something, not simply something to endure, but someone to become. Every hard thing you choose today becomes part of the person someone else will depend on tomorrow. Choose the conversation, choose accountability, choose discipline, choose growth, choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. If this message challenged you to think a little differently, then our time together was well spent. If it resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who could use a little encouragement this week. Until next Monday, choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Take care of one another, stay curious, lead with purpose, and never stop growing. I will see you next Monday.